I said yes. You didn't have to do that. I don't know how to cook this. Oh boy, meatheads. This could very well be the end of Chef Pat. My new roommates have requested a dish that I've never really cooked before, and it is very popular here in the Squid Games cafeteria. So I have got to nail this because the pressure is on. What they're asking me for today is authentic grilled Korean style short ribs. Kalbi ribs, if you will. Kalbi, I am not from Korea. So this is gonna be a challenge. This will be a test of all of my culinary experience and expertise and know-with-all. Or is that the know-with-all? And wherewithal. And where is all is the question we should be asking. And where is all of the people who should be looking for me? It's been a few months. You would think my family would at least file a report. But no, it is Squid Games Island for me for the foreseeable future. With that, let's get cooking. Might as well, dude. Might as well, champ. All right, so let's get cooking. So as far as I know, this isn't a very complicated dish. Whenever you do something like this, there's like a billion people here. Every city, every village, every clan, they probably all have their own version of a similar recipe. Just think about Italy and like pasta sauce. Every family probably has their own little secret, and every town has this is the Calabresian, this is the one from Naples, the Napoleon Dynamite one. They're all gonna be a little different little variations here. So what I'm gonna do this one is follow kind of a basic generic recipe. There might be one or two things here or there that was not what you use in your Korean families. So this recipe might be a little bit different than El Capitan's family recipe, but we're still gonna go for it. I think it'll be good. We'll be okay. Here we go. So the base of all these marinades is soy sauce. Hey, I never got your name, and I can't read Korean. Can you tell me which one's a cup? Strong silent type, huh? Okay, all right. Well, thanks anyways, Kimchi. So we got what I think is a Korean cup. A Korean cup's worth of soy sauce. Big old thing of soy sauce. Then half a cup of sesame oil. Just a little pour. Then we're gonna do about a half a cup of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar instead of mirin because they confiscated all the toilet wine that I had made earlier. All right, so when we got most of our liquids in, next are gonna come some of the solids. We're gonna use green onion. Green onion is a pretty essential ingredient in Korean barbecue. So I've learned from old K-pop over here. It doesn't need to be small or anything like that. This is for a marinade, so we'll just kind of cut big chunks out of it. Just throw those in here like that. We cut off the little roots. And then we'll split these down the middle to open up the onion at the bottom. And there too, just like that. Next, we're gonna throw in some Asian pear. It is just called the Asian pear. Sounds a little racist to me, but what do I know? So we're just gonna kind of slice it up like this, like we're slicing an apple. And pears are real pretty juicy. I mean, look how much juice is already coming out of it. So that juice will really help that marinade take on some sweetness. The next most important ingredient, according to Kim John Jovi, is garlic. We're gonna throw like 5 cloves of garlic in here, except instead of just chopping them up, we're gonna grate them to really kind of bring out that garlic flavor. We wanna kind of keep them whole. We just wanna loosen them up a little bit. You can almost hear it, ready? Listen. Right, just a little crack. Hey, Kim Possible, who do you got going to the Korean World Series, Giants or Dinos? All right, so we're gonna take our microplane, not quite a cheese grater, not quite a zester. It's gonna give us the texture and grate that we want on the garlic. So take a piece of garlic, I'm just gonna scrape it in right like that. And get all that kind of garlic, almost not quite a puree. Probably the easiest way to do it for these kinds of recipes, because you don't wanna chop it, you want it a little more chopped. It almost kind of squeezes the juice out of it. It's almost like juicing a garlic. Everything just smells so fresh in there. This is if you're gonna do Korean barbecue or Korean barbecue marinades, this is the way to go. All right, next, we're gonna do the exact same thing, except with fresh ginger now. So we're just gonna kind of square this off, and then just give it a quick little peel. And same thing, we are gonna grate this, pretty much this whole thing of ginger right into this mother. Ginger is kind of fibrous. You can always tell this is like the fibers from it. So doing it this way kind of keeps the fibers out of your marinade or whatever you're doing, if you're doing like poke or fried rice or whatever. So this is a great way to get a lot of ginger flavor. And same thing, it's almost juicing it. Like you can almost see it's almost like liquid. So we're coming up in the last couple things. All right, so we're gonna do like a big spoonful of brown sugar. Not sure why old Ping Pong needs it when he's so sweet already. Yeah, you. We're gonna add a bunch of sesame seeds. The only ones I can find were black. Again, a little racist, but not my kitchen. And then the last ingredient to truly make this an authentic Korean marinade, gochujang. At least that's how it's pronounced phonetically. It's called gochujang. This is a red pepper, brown rice, chili paste. So we're gonna give it one nice spoonful to go into our marinade. And that is our marinade. So the vinegar, the soy sauce, it's all gonna kind of help break down the pear, the onion, the ginger, and the garlic. All the acidity from all that is really going to really just kind of pull all the flavors from all the ingredients and blend it together. And then when we put our meat in there, the acidity from the vinegar, the soy sauce, the chili paste, it's going to tenderize the meat as well as flavor. Short ribs, traditionally, if we had the periodic table of beef with us when we were captured by the Squid Game's prison guards, we could be showing you right now where short ribs come from. But short ribs are a very tough cut of meat. When I think of short ribs, I usually think of braised short ribs or really slow cooked short ribs, hours and hours and hours, where the meat is tender enough to basically just be pulled apart. Since we're not gonna slow cook these ribs, they're sliced thin and they're marinated in this very acidic marinated, and that's gonna help break down some of the tougher tissues and also give it a ton of flavor. So I think this marinade is complete. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Kim Sanity, a little taste? He doesn't want any. Now, you gotta marinate these ribs at least 24 hours. That's like bare minimum. I think you can go as long as 48 hours. Anytime you're marinating something in liquid, where it's gonna be smothered in liquid, eventually you can take it too far and it's gonna be either too saturated or the tissue's gonna be broken down too much. Really, but look at these big beefy fucks. Oh, look at this, this is good. These are good. This is high quality stuff right here. And that's it. So the short ribs are right here. These are the ribs. And usually there comes in blocks. So it would be a big thick rib and then cut individually. This is sliced thin and long, so this rib meat is gonna be pretty tough. If you were just to salt, pepper, and grill it, you'd be really just chewing on it. So that's what we do the marinade for, to help break it down, and also why it's kind of cut a little thinner than like a big block of short rib. Just gonna pour this in. Okay, look at that. Try and get all that, as much air out as we can. Get it airtight, and then you're gonna kind of give it a nice rub. In happier times, we used to say back home in the cooking meat studio, first you rub your meat, then you rub one out after you eat. But now I can't rub one out ever because Captain Chopsticks is always watching me. All right, so there we go. So we're gonna stick this in the fridge. We're gonna let this marinate overnight, and then we're gonna go check out what kind of grill setup they have here at the Squid Games compound. Right, I'm just gonna throw this in, and I think that's it for the night. So just head on back to my bunk, or so just stay here. And, all right, well, I'll just watch. Sun's up, Kimbo Slice. A couple dozen people have already died today. Lunchtime is soon. Can I please get cooking? All right, meatheads, we've had our Korean style short ribs marinating all night. You know it's gonna be good, or I'm probably gonna die. All right. So we got our ribs that have been marinating for overnight. They're gonna be tender for sure from all the vinegar and soy. We'll have salt from the soy sauce, a little acidity from the vinegar and the onions. So I think it'll be pretty balanced all on its own. So we're not gonna do too much of that. We'll just let it sit, start to warm up a little bit while we make some rice. 2 big cups of rice. Perfect. We're gonna rinse this with warm water. People think that it's about cleaning the rice. That doesn't really matter. The boiling water is gonna kill all that shit anyway, so don't have to worry about that. So if you don't wash the rice, it's gonna remain starchy. It's gonna remain much more firm. So I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna rinse the rice, and then we'll go to the next step. So. Snake bite? No, can't be. All that white, while the water is not clear, that's the starch from the rice. We will rinse this until the water is a lot more clear. So we give that a good rinse, rinse it off again, and the water is a little more clear. Now you can kind of almost see the rice at the bottom. So the starch is starting to really rinse off. So we'll let this sit for probably another 10 minutes, keep kind of stirring it around, and then we'll give it one last final rinse, and the water should be pretty clear at that point. All right, so this has been soaking maybe for about 20, 25 minutes or so, and you can see now the water is pretty clear. Not all the way clear, but pretty clear. If you wanna make sticky rice, when you make sticky rice, the rices literally sit out in warm water for like 3 hours, I think. But according to all the gunshots, lunchtime is probably pretty soon, and I'm sure the guards are gonna be hungry. So we'll drain the water. Shit. The water's drained. The rice has lost a lot of its starch. I mean, look at the color of it. This is almost an exact replica of the Cookin Meat Studio. So I'm assuming there is no rice cooker, and they're gonna make me try and do it on the stove top. So we did 2 Korean cups of rice, so we're gonna do 4 Korean cups of water. 2, 3, and sutasa. Next, we're gonna add a touch of salt. We're gonna add a little fat, and my preferred fat is tallow. All right, so we're gonna add our tallow in, and we'll just pray to the rice gods that it comes out the way I'm hoping it does. Looks like we're gonna have to use the old cooking meat trick and yell at our water. Boil! Gurita! 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 Thank you. Works every time. All right, now we're gonna add our rice. All right, I'm gonna give it one little stir to kind of just get it evened out. And there we go. We're gonna reduce the water down to rice level. And when that does, we'll cover it, we'll let it steam up, and then we'll cover it, let it do its thing. If you've ever been to a Korean grilled barbecue place, the vegetables, the sides are pretty basic. So we just have some sweet onions and some red peppers. We're gonna grill them when we grill our meats to go alongside. So we'll have some rice, some grilled veggies, and we'll have some delicious Korean style short ribs. We're gonna keep these in big rings, like big onion rings. Usually when you cut off the ends and you're gonna dice up an onion or slice an onion or julienne onion, you split it down the middle at this point. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep it whole so we can get big, juicy onion rings. So yeah, with the onion this size, I bet you we get 4, maybe 5, but they wanna be like 1/2 inch thick. And the reason why you wanna keep them thick is if they're too thin and you put them on a grill, they are going to like fall apart. So nice and thick, they shouldn't fall apart on the grill. We're gonna give them a little baste in the same marinade. So once we put these on the grill, we'll kind of baste it in that juice and give it a little flavor too. So we're not gonna do anything to these guys. So for the peppers, we're gonna cut these off at the sides so that they're perfect grilling size peppers. So we're gonna take them like this. We'll probably get 4 from each one. We're gonna save these for later because we have to make use of every scrap here in the Squid Games kitchen, but we'll save these for a diced pepper recipe later on. Last thing we're gonna do with these peppers is we're gonna just cut these ribs out. They just don't have a lot of flavor and they'll burn a little easier. They're a lot more tender than the rest of it. So you just kind of take your knife and dig them out like that. That's how you get those guys out. All right, squid heads, we're almost there. We're not gonna need to leave the heat on once we put the lid back on. I already almost cooked through, a lot of the starch is gone, so it's a lot softer and fluffier. We're just gonna put the lid on and kind of let it fluff up on its own. We're gonna throw this lid on there, seal it up, and how all that steam, the leftover moisture is gonna be captured. It's gonna kind of steam and fluff itself up on its own. Grab our tongs, grab our marinated meats, and we're gonna go check out, for the first time, the Squid Games grill. So let's go check it out. Let's get these guards some lunch, and then let's get back to our bunks so we can fluff ourselves. All right, let's see what we... Fuck. What the hell? What is this, leftover from the war? Oh my God. What am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to cook on this? Can you just say something, please? All right, okay, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. I'll shoot. All right, squid heads. Grill is hot, and we're gonna put our meat down first. They need to be cooked well and through and really nicely charred. That is what we're going for. Thoroughly cooked, charred piece of meat. Look at that. I know you can't smell it from back home in America, but it smells so good. It's got the sweetness from the pear and the sugar, rice wine vinegar, some salty umami flavor, the soy, and then just this really fresh, almost citrusy smell from the ginger and the garlic. It really does smell amazing. That's a big guy. That's a big one. Bigger than most Koreans. All right, so then with this juice, what we're gonna do, dredge our vegetables in the juice. Now don't worry about cross-contamination at this point. I know it's raw meat's been sitting in this, but we're gonna grill the shit out of this. Any kind of bacteria or anything like that will be destroyed in the fire. It smells good, doesn't it? Exactly. Oh, so now you think I'm cool, huh? All right, nope, I see how it is. But we're gonna do the same thing with the onions. And then again, that's why we kind of wanted to keep these onions nice and thick so they can kind of hold their structural integrity while they get grilled and dunked in this marinade. So we can kind of check. See, we're starting to get a nice little char on that. We're actually gonna close this up for a second. Take in the smells. You smell that? I know, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's why you pulled me out of the compound. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Korea's beautiful. You really gotta let me outside more. Whoa, is that a black cormorant? Okay. I was kidding. I thought I saw another one. All right, okay. Perfect timing. So we should have a nice little char on these. Oh, yeah. These ribs are getting charred. And that's the sugar burning. It's getting caramelized. Yeah, look at that. It's not getting burnt. Again, there's a difference between burnt and charred, but that black is gonna have so much nice caramelized flavor to it and really bring out the flavor of the meat. Vegetables are starting to char too. We're gonna give some of these a little flippy boo. And these guys, I say we have probably another 2-3 minutes on the ribs. We'll close it up again and we'll let it go. And then probably another 5 minutes on the peppers. Even though we're not cooking it medium rare, we're cooking it medium well, we still want to let it rest a little. So while it's resting, we'll finish up the vegetables. We'll go inside, rice should be done, and we'll have ourselves a little Korean style lunch. Look at that, see, it's cooking, but you really want to get the char like this side. All this fat is going to really render out. You really want to cook it through because it's a very fatty, tough cut. It's been tenderized by the marinade and flavored by the marinade, but you still want to make sure you get a nice char. Again, we're not trying to burn it. We want charred, not burnt. That is like the perfect perfect pepper right there. And again, we're covering these because we want the vegetables to soften. If you let it roast like that, it's gonna take a lot longer. Closing the grill versus opening the grill is basically creating an oven effect. If you're cooking a steak that you want medium rare and you have a hot grill, you don't really need to close it. You're just gonna keep it hot. If you're gonna try to cook something through, you close it, it cooks through a little faster because you create an oven effect. So that's why the vegetables are getting nice and soft. So we're gonna start pulling some onions off because these onions look ready. The peppers are gonna take a little bit longer. And then, oh yeah, we're getting charred. There we go. We're starting to get that char on it. That one looks good right there. So yeah, so see that char? That's what we're looking for. That's not burnt. I guarantee you that is not burnt. That is just nice and charred. That's gonna bring out a lot of smoky, caramelized flavor out of the meat. So all of our meat is cooked. We're gonna give those peppers just the last little minute or two on it while our meat rests. By the time those are done, and we go inside, rice will be done, and we'll be eating. They'll be eating. All right, so these are nice and soft, nice little char on these peppers, so we're gonna bring these peppers inside too. I'm not trying to roast these into oblivion. I just wanna get a nice char on them. They're gonna have some flavor from the marinade that kind of got cooked into it, but they're still gonna have some firmness to it. They're still gonna have not crunch, but some firm vegetable texture. It's not what it looks like. Let's go inside and eat some Korean style Kalbi short ribs with grilled vegetables and get out of the Korean heat. All right, all you kimchis and kimhees, we're gonna have ourselves a Korean working man style lunch. I have no idea if that's actually true, but I'm a working man and this is gonna be our lunch. So we've got our beautifully roasted, charred Korean style short ribs, some grilled red peppers, some grilled red onions, and we're gonna do some sticky rice. This isn't super fancy, but the deep, rich flavors from the marinade from the beef are gonna go so well with the acidity and sweetness from the onions and the peppers. Let's plate this guy up. Perfect. Now, it might be hard to tell. This is a very much clumpier and stickier rice than I usually make. So then we'll have meaty fuck on it. Right there, here. Grilled pepper. Grilled onion, like that. Oh, you guys. So we're just gonna garnish it with a pretty basic green onion. Some black sesame seeds right here on the rice. There you go. That is a meal fit for a Squid Games guard. Let's have a little test run before we serve it to our friends. Make sure it's tasting the way we want it to taste. Nice clumpy rice. Those vegetables are good. We got a hint of flavor from the marinade that we dunked them in. Al dente crunch to it in the middle. Nice smoke from the char. But this is gonna be the real show. This is what we're gonna do. Oh my God. It's cooked all the way through. Not a medium rare thing. And in this case, because they're short ribs, it's actually gonna make it a little bit more tender and fall off the bone. That in combination with the marinade that we let it sit in overnight, it has become a tender meat. If you were to take them straight without marinating it, just salt, pepper, and grilled it on the steak medium rare, it'd be so tough and chewy. But because we basically got it tender and cooked it all the way through in a nice char, it's a lot more tender than it would be. And the soy, sweet, pear, you can taste it all in this, and it really has some deep, rich flavor. I'm not gonna give any to the guards. I'm getting killed today. This one, it's fairly easy to do at home. All I need is those ingredients for the marinade. After that, it's pretty basic. White rice, grilled vegetables. You can use skirt steak, flank steak. I wouldn't use like a New York or like a big meat, like grilled steak like that, but flank steak, skirt steak, round steak, kind of a tougher steak that could benefit from sitting in a marinade would be so good with this. A skirt steak with this would be so good. All right, meatheads and squid heads. We're gonna get the rest of this food off to the guards for their lunch. Chef Pat's gonna live to see another day. And we'll see you right back here next time in the Squid Game studio for the foreseeable future. Or until Macho Man Randy Savage and Guy Fieri save me again. You take care, everybody. Get home safe.